What is up, YouTube? We're back. We're back in the Bible, reading wisdom. We started off at chapter 7. No, we ended it off at chapter 7. But today we're going to start off at chapter 8 in wisdom. I'm going to give a preface for wisdom again. Wisdom is from an unknown author who was writing the wisdom of Solomon at that time. So let's hop right into it. Chapter 8. Indeed, she reaches from end to end mightily and governs all things well. Solomon sought wisdom, the source of blessings. Her I loved and sought after from my youth. I sought to take her for my bride, who was enamored of her beauty. She asked nobility, the splendor of God, companionship with God, and even the Lord of all loved her. For she is the instructress in the understanding of God, the selector of his works. And if he riches be a desperate possession in life, what is more rich than wisdom, who produces all things? And if prudence renders service, who is the world is a better craftsman than she? Or if one loves justice, the fruits of her works are virtuous. For she teaches moderation and prudence, and justice and fortitude. And nothing in life is more useful for man than these. Or again, if one yearns for copious learning, she knows the thing of old and fears those yet to come. She understands the turn of phrases and the solutions of riddles. Signs and wonders she knows in advance, and the outcome of time and ages. Solomon sought wisdom as his counselor and comfort. So I determined to take her to live with me, knowing that she would be my counselor, while all was well, my comfort and care and grief. For her sake I should have glory among the masses, and esteem from the elders, though I be but a youth. I should become king in judgment, and should be a marvel before rulers. They would abide my silence and attend my utterance. And as I spoke on further, they would place their hands upon their mouths. For her sake I should have immortality, lead to those after me in everlasting memory. I shall have governed people, and nations will be my subjects. Terrible princes, hearing of me, will be afraid. In the assembly I shall appear noble, and in war courageous. Within my dwelling I should take my repose beside her. For association with her is no bitterness, and living with her no grief, but rather joy and gladness. Solomon realizes that wisdom is a gift of God. Thinking thus within myself and reflecting in my heart that there is immortality in kinship with wisdom, and good pleasure in her friendship, and unfailing riches in the works of her hands, and that in frequenting her society there is prudence, and far renowned in sharing her discourses, I went about seeking to take her for my own. Now I was well-favored child. I came by a noble nature, or rather being noble, I attended an unsullied body, and knowing that I could not otherwise possess her, except God gave it, and this too was prudence to know who is the gift. I went to the Lord and besought him, and said with all my heart. Solomon's prayer. God of my father, Lord of mercy, you have made all things by your word, and in your wisdom have establishment to rule the creatures produced by you, to govern the world in holiness and justice, and to render judgment in integrity of heart. Give me wisdom, the attendant at your throne, and reject me not from among your children, for I am your servant, the son of your handmaid, a man weak and short-lived, lacking comprehension of judgment and of laws. Indeed, through one be perfect among the sons of men. If wisdom who comes from you be not with him, he shall be held in no esteem. You have chosen me king over your people and magistrate for your sons and daughters. You have bade me build a temple on your holy mountain, and an altar in the city that is your dwelling place. Copy of the holy tabernacle which you had established from of old. Now with you is wisdom. Who knows your works? Was a present when you made the world? Who understands that is pleasing in your eyes? What is comfortable with your commands? Send her forth from your holy heavens, and from your glorious throne dispatch her, that she may be with me and work with me, that I may know what is your pleasure. For she knows and understands all things, and will guide me discreetly into my affairs, and safeguard me by her glory. Thus my deeds will be acceptable, and I shall judge your people justly, and be worthy of my Father's throne. For that man knows God's counsel, or who can conceive what the Lord intends. For the deliberation of mortals are timid, and are unsure are our plans. For the corruptible body burdens the soul, and the earthen shelter weighs down the mind that has many concerns. And scarce do we guess the things on earth, and what is within our grasp we find with difficulty. But when things are in heaven, who can search them out? Or whoever your counsel, except you have given wisdom, and sent your Holy Spirit from on high. And thus were the paths of those on earth made straight. And men learned what was your pleasure, and were saved by wisdom. Okay. This was Solomon's prayer. This was Solomon asking for wisdom. And this is Solomon explaining how great wisdom is, how much of a gift it is to humans, and how even if you do have some type of understanding, or God gives us some type of understanding, we don't know the full plan of God, because God is way much bigger. His wisdom is way more than what we know. Like, he gives us bits and pieces of his intelligence, of his wisdom, and it's really incomparable to what God has, and we still have this human wisdom, and so it's such a gift because it allows us to go through situations unharmed or unscathed, or we're able to avoid situations because wisdom is what Solomon asked for, and he received everything else afterwards. Wisdom is the most important thing a person can learn, because if you are not wise, you won't know when to humble yourself, you won't know when to apply discipline. And wisdom is just knowing when to use things at the proper time. Wisdom is the fear of God, so when you are encountering a moment where you always need to follow the law, that's wisdom. When you follow the law, you have fear of God, and you know what God's will is. And so he said, don't reject me from giving me wisdom. Please send it forth from your heavens. So this is what he's asking for. He said that she may be with me and work with me, that I may know what is your pleasure. And so with wisdom, we understand what is God's pleasure. And once we understand that, we get bits and pieces, and we're able to bring that back in life. And as I said, with wisdom, you live in the memories forever. And what else? Shit. Let's go back to that. Gladness, where is it? Give me a second, I'm looking for this, because I want to read this verbatim of from scripture. Yeah, it should have been on this page. Okay. For her, I should have immortality, and leads those me an everlasting memory. So immortality comes with wisdom. With wisdom, you don't die. You already live on. With wisdom, you have the life of God. Wisdom is life. So wisdom is the best thing a man should ask for. On top of wisdom, because if you have wisdom, then you know that you need discipline, and you need all the other stuff. You need to fear God. So it's the most important thing to ask for, I feel like. Well, faith, because you can have wisdom, but you can also not have faith. And so I'm sorry, it's really faith that we should all have, not wisdom. But Having faith is wisdom. So, let's go to chapter 10. Wisdom preserves her followers. She preserved the first formed father of the world when he alone had been created. And she raised him up from his fall, gave him power to rule over all things. But when the unjust man withdrew from her in anger, he perished through his fractional wrath. And when on his account the earth was flooded, wisdom again saved it, piloting the just man on frailest wood. She, when the nations were sunk in universal weakness, knew that just man kept him blameless before God, preserved him resolute against pity of his child. She delivered the just man from among the wicked who were being destroyed when he fled as fire descended upon the Pentapolus. I don't know how you say this group of people name, but it's spelled Pentapolus, and then a dash. But whereas a testimony to its wickedness, there yet remain a smoking desert, plants bearing fruit that never ripens, and the tomb of disbelieving souls, standing pillar of salt. For those who forsook wisdom, first were bereft of knowledge of the right. Then they left mankind a memorial of their folly, so that they could not even be hidden in their fall. But wisdom delivered from tribulations those who served her. She, when the just man fled from his brother's anger, guided him in direct ways, showed him the kingdom of God, and gave him knowledge of holy things. She prospered him in his labors, and made abundant the fruit of his works, stood by him against the greed of his defrauders, and enriched him. She preserved him from the foes, and secured him against ambush. She gave him the prize of his stern struggle, and he might know that the devotion to God is mightier than all else. She did not abandon the just man when he was sold, but delivered him from sin. She went down with him in the dungeons, and did not desert him in his bonds, until she brought him with the scepter of royalty and authority over his oppressors, showed them who had defamed him false, and gave him eternal glory. Let's read this again. She went down with him into the dungeons, and did not desert him into his bonds, until she brought him the scepter of the royalty and authority over his oppressors, showed those who had defamed him false, and gave him eternal glory. The holy people and blameless race, it was she who delivered them from the nations that oppressed them. She entered the soul of the Lord's servant, and withstood fearsome kings with signs and portents. She gave the holy ones the recompense of their labors, conducted them by a wondrous road, and became a shelter for them by day and a starry flame by night. She took them across the Red Sea, and brought them through the deep waters. But their enemies she overwhelmed, and cast them up from the bottom of the depths. Therefore the just despoiled the wicked, and they sang, O Lord, your holy name, and praised in unison of conquering hands. Because wisdom opened the mouths of the dumb, and gave ready speech to infants. Chapter 11. She made the affairs prosper through the holy prophet. Special providence of God during the Exodus. Introduction. The journey through the uninhabited desert, and in solitude they pitched their tents. They withstood enemies and took vengeance on their foes. When they thirsted, they called upon it, and water was given them for the sheer rock. A sugiment for their thirst from the land stone. I really don't know how to say this word, like assurgement, ASSUAGEMENT, for the thirst of the hard stone. For by things through which their foes were punished, they in their need were benefited. For example, water punished the Egyptians and benefits the Israelites. Instead of a spring, when the Penerian Nile River was troubled with impure blood, As a rebuke to the decree of slaying of infants, he gave them abundant water and an unhoped for. And as a rebuke for the decree of slaying the infants, you gave them an abundant water and an unhoped for way. Once you had shown by the thirst they then had, how you punished their adversaries. For when they had been tried and only mildly chastised, they recognized how the wicked condemned in anger were being tormented. The later you tested, admonishing them as a father. The former as stern king you probed and condemned. Both those afar of those close by were afflicted, for a twofold grief took up hold of them, and groaning as the remembrance of ones who had departed. For when they heard that this curse of their own torments was a benefit to these others, they recognized the Lord. Him who had been cast out in exposure they indeed mockingly rejected, but in the end of events they marveled at him, since their thirst proved unlike that of just. Second, example, animals punished the Egyptians and benefits the Israelites, and in return for the senseless wicked thoughts, which misled them into worshiping dumb serpents and worthless insects, you sit upon the swarm of dumb creatures for vengeance, that they might recognize that a man is punished by the very things through which he sins. Aggression on God's mercy, for not without means was your almighty hand, that had fashioned the universe from formless matter, to send upon them a drove of bears or fierce lions, or new creature, rifle, a known beast to breathe forth fiery breath, or pour out roaring smoke, or flash terrible sparks from their eyes. Not only could these attack and completely destroy them, even their frightful appearance itself could slay. Even without these, they could have killed at a single blast, pursued by retribution, wandered out by your mighty spirit. But you have disposed all things by measure, number, and weight. For with you great strength abides always. Who can resist the might of your arm? Indeed, before you the whole universe is a grain from a balance, or a drop of morning dew, come down upon the earth. But you have mercy on all, because you can do all things. And you overlook the sins of men, that you may repent. For you love all things that are, and loathe nothing that you have made. For what you hated, you would not have fashioned. And how could a thing remain unless you willed it, or be preserved had it not been called forth by you? But you spare all things because they are yours, O Lord, and lover of souls. Okay. So I just want to touch on that last part we just read. But you spare all things because they are yours, O lover of souls, O Lord. Let's read that one more time. Because you spare all things because they are yours, O Lord, lover of souls. So this is coming from Wisdom 12, 26. And this is what God talks about. You must love the wicked, you must love the righteous as evenly. You don't treat them any differently than you would treat somebody that's righteous. Because it's all made from God, and we all have to show the same respect that we're gonna show to somebody else. And that's what I got in the car with my uncle. He rolled up a little blunt. He's like, I know I don't even want that. I'm trying to stop smoking, but he's like, bro, you ain't special. This ain't for you. He's like, I do this for everybody. So I don't treat nobody differently. I don't treat nobody differently how it is, and that's how it should be, because that's the truth. You don't treat nobody different because how they make you feel. You treat them all the same, how they come into your life, because you want somebody to do that with you, right? Playing that wishy-washy stuff. You treat somebody differently based on how they make you feel. Nah, bro. And that's why I really I kept it in, because that's what I felt my uncle when he was talking about that. I should be treating everybody the same, not differently. But I'm still make a part, I think, forward to this. We're gonna read chapter 12 all the way to 15, and I'm gonna make this a playlist, of course, so you guys can easily find the next book because somebody was asking for it. But I appreciate you guys for stopping by. If you haven't already, leave a like, subscribe, also comment. I forgot, I need you guys to comment. That's how my viewer engagement go up. That's how I get more people to watch me. I need you guys to comment with me, see what is mind-boggling to you, what is something that, you know, you could ask a question and maybe we can come together and solve it and figure it out of what is God meaning by that, you know. But yeah, enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.